Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, January 25th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. On a day with powerful winds, rain, and even snow, Governor Gavin Newsom lifted the dark cloud that was the stay-at-home order. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman says while this is a positive sign, most of the state is still facing restrictions on indoor operations.
All regions effective immediately are no longer in the stay-at-home order.
Now San Diego is back in the state's most restrictive purple reopening tier. It means restaurants can once again resume outdoor dining and personal care businesses can start taking customers inside with precautions.
Projecting 4 weeks forward with a significant decline in the case rates, positivity rates, we are anticipating still more decline in hospitalizations and more declines in ICUs, and that's why we're lifting that stay-at-home order.
The regional restrictions hit right at the beginning of December when ICU capacity was stretching. The state's top medical expert says they are predicting numbers through next month to improve.
We hope that we continue to see the decline that we've been witnessing over the past 10 to 14 days.
The governor says while that's good news.
Oh, you could see here just the 7-day average of deaths, 504. It's just a reminder of how important it is until we get vaccinated, maintaining our vigilance.
Newsom says currently California is vaccinating around 120,000 people per day.
But we realize we have got to increase throughput here.
The governor is pushing a new My Turn platform that's being piloted here in San Diego and Los Angeles where people can register, then they are told when they're eligible for vaccines. Right now that group includes people over 65, healthcare workers, and first responders.
It's a centralized system to enter vaccines that are received and administered, and it's a mechanism to fundamentally address this reporting lag, which again is very stubborn but very real.
We don't want to change the trajectory we're on. We have to avoid those high-risk settings.
Locally, officials say lessening of restrictions is a good step.
But opening the purple tier will hopefully provide some relief, again, to those businesses, particularly our restaurants and our personal care services that have been most heavily impacted.
With the regional order now gone, County Public Health Officer Dr. Wilma Wooten could have chosen to be more restrictive.
I think it is time for businesses to be able to start having some hope, and I think the move made today was a reasonable one.
Going to the purple tier also means some youth sports can begin competing again. The governor was asked today if a recall campaign and pressure from lawsuits influenced his decision to lift some restrictions.
Yeah, that's just complete, utter nonsense. So let's just dispense with that.
Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
The second of 3 winter storms expected this week blew right through San Diego County today with high winds, considerable rainfall and snow, and even some hail. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer says the inclement weather forced the Petco Park Vaccine Superstation to close for the day.
The winter storm system brought rain up to 0.3 of an inch per hour and snow as low as 2,500 feet in the mountains. Along San Diego's coastline, the rare event of strong winds knocked out power to some 1,700 SDG&E customers and disrupted plans for COVID-19 vaccinations at the county's Petco Park Superstation.
And those winds were gusting all night, 20, 30 miles per hour, and in some of the windiest locations, over 50 miles per hour. So this wasn't a Santa Ana wind, this was a wind coming off the ocean.
The Petco Park Superstation was empty this morning after the weather forced the county to close operations for the day. One of the tents at the location even blew over due to the strong gusts. In a tweet, San Diego County said, due to inclement weather, the vaccination superstation at Petco Park will be closed all day Monday as well as Tuesday morning. It will be determined Tuesday morning if the closure needs to be extended. People with appointments who tried to show up to the Petco site or attempted to go to other clinics were turned away.
The goal is to increase the throughput and look at increasing the hours to try and catch those up as best we can. And we think by the end of the week, we hopefully can be caught up and not miss any of them, get back made whole.
The county clarified the plan to reschedule vaccination times in a follow-up tweet. People who had appointments for Monday should check My Chart as they are being rescheduled for Thursday, and they should return only at that newly scheduled time. Appointments made for the Petco site do not transfer to other county locations. While the Petco Superstation shut down for the day, all other county vaccination sites remained open, including Chula Vista's new indoor walk-in Superstation. Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
Moderna says it believes its coronavirus vaccine protects against new variants of the virus. According to the company, the variant first spotted in the UK had no significant impact on the vaccine's effectiveness after 2 doses. So far, 87 cases of that variant have been confirmed here in San Diego County. Although some studies have suggested vaccines may be somewhat less effective against the strain first found in South Africa, Moderna expects their vaccine to still be effective. The number of new infections across the U.S. is dropping, which is welcome news. Here in San Diego County, 1,437 cases and no new deaths were reported today. Experts say the downward trend is not due to the vaccine. That's because less than 6% of the population has received a first dose and less than 1% is fully vaccinated. As Nadia Romero reports, many states say they don't have enough supplies to meet demand.
The impact of COVID-19 still sending shockwaves through American families. Cassie Howell's grandparents died from COVID-19 after celebrating 70 years of marriage.
They had the biggest hearts, and they just truly not only left a legacy of love for each other, but our entire family.
While the death toll is still rising, the rate of new infections is dropping. But top infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci says it isn't from vaccines.
We want to keep going, get a lot of people vaccinated. But I don't think the dynamics of what we're seeing now with the plateauing is significantly influenced yet.
However, Fauci says we need more people getting vaccines to really see a decline in COVID rates. But New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says opening mega vaccination sites requires more supply.
We urgently need more supply. We urgently need more flexibility with the supply we have.
CVS Health Chief Medical Officer says it's a complex process.
We don't want to frustrate people by saying we have some vaccine, but it's only a few stores and it's only a few vaccines per store. So it's all going to depend on how much vaccine is available from the manufacturers. And I know they're working as hard as they can to pump out those vaccines.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
And we have all the latest information on vaccines at kpbs.org. We are tracking how many doses have arrived and been administered in our region. You can also see locations and get a shot and links to make appointment online. A reminder, though, everyone 65 and older is now eligible. The House impeachment case against Donald Trump has been delivered to the Senate. Democratic prosecutors made the ceremonial walk across the Capitol to deliver the charge of incitement of insurrection. Many Republicans are now questioning whether Trump's repeated demands to overturn the election really amounted to incitement. The trial is set to begin in 2 weeks. In his first full week as president, Joe Biden is set to sign a flurry of executive orders. As Daryl Forges reports, he's undoing more of President Trump's actions.
A historic meeting highlighting diversity in the Biden administration. The first female vice president and the first black secretary of defense. Watch as President Biden signs an executive order allowing transgender Americans to join the military. The action repeals the Trump-era ban.
Transgender personnel, if qualified in every other way, can serve their government in the United States military.
President Biden is also promoting Buy American programs, strengthening federal government requirements to purchase items made in the USA.
We'll invest hundreds of billions of dollars in buying American products and materials to modernize our infrastructure, and our competitive strength will increase in a competitive world.
But President Biden needs the power of Congress to pass a COVID-19 relief bill. The administration is pushing for a nearly $2 trillion plan that includes a new round of stimulus checks, more money for vaccinations, and an increase to the minimum wage.
We need to understand where the money is going. Are these to individuals or to entities that really need the help? How has the first $900 billion we just passed a couple of weeks ago, how has that been distributed?
In Washington, Daryl Forges, KPBS News.
California is extending eviction protections through the end of June. State protections banning evictions for tenants who pay at least 25% of their rent owed between September and January are set to expire next week. The new plan will also use federal money to pay off up to 80% of some tenants' debts if landlords agree to forgive the remaining 20%. The proposal must still be approved by the state legislature. As restaurants switch to delivery and takeout, third-party apps have taken a bite out of profits. But now the city of San Diego is biting back. Mayor Todd Gloria signed an executive order capping third-party food delivery fees to 15%. Some companies have charged 30% or more in commissions, fees, and service charges. The executive order places a 15% delivery fee cap and limits total fees to 18%. It takes effect at midnight. California State Water Board is facing financial pressure from the pandemic and is sending out a warning to residents and water agencies. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson has the details.
State water officials estimate 1.6 million California households have delinquent water bills. They say that adds up to $1 billion in debt. Water can't be shut off to delinquent customers right now, but consumer advocates worry that could change.
If you have 12% of the population behind on their water bills and you expect them to pay within 60 days of the state of emergency being lifted, we're foreseeing hundreds of thousands of people potentially having their water shut off.
The outstanding bills are a financial threat to both customers who are obliged to pay and water agencies that need the money to operate. It doesn't help that the price of water is going up.
Our water rates between 2007 and 2015 increased by about 47%.
Todd is pushing legislation that'll help delinquent customers pay their bills and to extend the moratorium on water shutoffs. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
This current storm is bringing much-needed snow to the mountains, and as you might expect, Julian is seeing plenty of visitors. This is what it looked like this morning when plenty of snow was already on the ground. One woman says she and her family decided to make it a long weekend and enjoy the winter weather.
Oh, it's so nice. That's what I loved about it. We didn't have to travel too far, and here we are enjoying the snow. And we just wanted to be in the snow for a couple of days, so we came up last night because we knew today was going to be really stormy.
Crews are regularly clearing the roads in Julian and surrounding areas to make it safer for driving, but please keep in mind chains are required if you plan to take a trip to higher elevations.
Our active weather pattern continues this week, starting off the week quite stormy with significant travel disruptions from snow and wind and some rain. There'll be a break in the precipitation. Middle part of the week, temperatures will creep up a bit. And then Thursday and Friday, here we go again, another significant storm on the way. So it's a stormy stretch here. Certainly looking at drought relief, heavy mountain snow, below average temperatures, and winds will be concerned, and so will be the surf. It's going to be rather rough. Into this evening and tonight, we do have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings up here in the high country. Down to 2,500 feet, could see some light accumulations, but above 5,000 feet, you know, we could be looking at close to a foot or more of snowfall. Very windy, too, into tonight, and high wind warnings right to the coast here. Winds could be damaging, and we'll see the high winds through the mountains into the deserts. Along the coast, we still have the rough surf that continues right through Tuesday afternoon. Surf advisories here. Let's check the temperatures tonight. Pretty chilly. Oceanside 35, San Diego 47, Ramona 33, and El Cajon 41. Showers and gusty winds this evening. They'll be diminishing. We can show you that on the future radar too. You can see the precipitation through the evening hours in the mountains. So we are talking some snow here, but we are seeing a definite drying trend on the way. So we get a break during the day Tuesday. Tuesday's temperatures will be hovering in the upper 50s, Oceanside, Escondido, low 60s, El Cajon, San Diego's 59. So we're looking at below average temperatures. And then the atmospheric river starts to work its way down the coast. We should see the impacts late Thursday night and into Friday from that. So looking at the extended forecast, more wet weather here Thursday night into Friday. As we head inland, here you can see cool, and then it gets wet Thursday night and Friday. Mountain areas could be looking at rain and snow by Friday, and in the deserts, cool temperatures, and looks like it could get wet again here Friday too. And for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Mark Mancuso.
A South Bay church's request to overturn the state's coronavirus restrictions barring indoor worship services has been denied. A federal appeals court ruled against South Bay United Pentecostal Church of Chula Vista. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said the state's rules to curb the spread of the virus did not violate First Amendment rights. Indoor worship services are banned in all purple-tiered counties. A church in Hillcrest says it won't allow an act of vandalism to stop it from doing its work. These pictures show a defaced Black Lives Matter banner at University Christian Church. The damage caused by pink paint was noticed early Sunday morning. The church still held its online service. Also stolen were rainbow doors meant to show support for the LGBTQ community. Mexico's president has tested positive for COVID-19. Despite his illness, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said he will continue his duties from the presidential palace. As Rafael Romo reports, Mexico's president was one of the first world leaders President Biden called as he works to build relationships.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador was the second head of state to receive a phone call from President Joe Biden after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. According to a White House readout of the call, the two leaders agreed to work closely to stem the flow of irregular migration to Mexico and the United States, as well as to promote development in the Northern Triangle of Central America. A readout of the call published by the Mexican Foreign Ministry went further, saying that both leaders agreed to strengthen and tighten collaboration between their governments based on mutual respect and shared hope for the benefit of both peoples. President López Obrador was criticized both in Mexico and the United States because he did not congratulate President Biden on his November victory until after the Electoral College confirmed the results of the election. His critics also say that he was too willing to please the previous administration, sending the Mexican National Guard to reinforce Mexico's southern border at the request of then-President Trump. President Obrador said Saturday that President Biden told him the U.S. will invest $4 billion in efforts aimed at addressing the root causes of migration from Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, countries that form the so-called Northern Triangle. The day before the call, López Obrador also said he favors Biden's immigration initiative that would potentially legalize millions of Mexican nationals currently living in the United States. Rafael Romo, CNN, Atlanta.
After several months of investigation, a third-party consulting group found the La Mesa Police Department was not prepared for the riot that broke out last spring. The consulting group, Hillard Heinz, was hired by the city of La Mesa. Their report released Friday said the police department lacked leadership training and underestimated the magnitude of the event. Racial justice protests erupted on the last weekend of May, leading to looting and vandalism. Hillard Heinz says it was not looking to assign blame and says the report is meant to improve best practice efforts. The San Diego County Board of Supervisors is moving to reverse a ban on cannabis businesses in unincorporated areas. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says it's another example of Democrats flexing their new majority on the board.
The county's unincorporated areas like Ramona and Spring Valley are full of illegal pot dispensaries and delivery services. Supervisors Nathan Fletcher and Nora Vargas hope to put that black market out of business by transitioning to a legal, regulated, and taxed cannabis market. Supervisor Nora Vargas says it's a business opportunity.
There are significant revenues that can be generated from the cannabis industry
that can potentially fill the county's budget shortfalls forecasted from this pandemic.
In 2017, a Republican majority board of supervisors voted to ban all new cannabis businesses in the unincorporated areas. Now the board's new Democratic majority wants to reverse that ban. Supervisors also aim to establish a cannabis equity program that would help marginalized communities share in the profits of legalization.
We know that many communities have been devastated by the war on drugs. And they have been disproportionately impacted by an inequitable criminal justice system. And we seek to move forward into a better future by trying to undo some of these past wrongs. That notion of social equity and justice is at the core of our cannabis approach.
Supervisors will vote Wednesday to start drafting regulations for cannabis businesses. Those will have to come back for a final vote later this year. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Companies now have to share more of their COVID-19 data. Cal Matters reporter Laurence Dussault explains a new law that aims to keep workers and the state informed.
Millions of Californians continue to risk COVID-19 infection by showing up in person at work during the pandemic. But the state and federal governments have never required companies to share information about outbreaks with their employees or to health authorities. More than 9 months after Governor Gavin Newsom issued the first shelter-in-place order, a new state law will require businesses and the state health department to report more COVID data. Hi, my name is Laurence Dussault, and I'm going to tell you about California's new COVID-19 worker protections in 1 minute. The law requires businesses to notify employees within 24 hours if they've been exposed at work, and companies have to report outbreaks defined as more than 2 positive cases within 2 weeks to health authorities. The law gives more enforcement power to Cal OSHA, the state's workplace safety agency, including the ability to shut down businesses if they find workers in imminent danger. What's still unclear is how the data will be presented to the public. While unions backed a provision that would have required the state to disclose every workplace outbreak online, business interests led by the California Chamber of Commerce argued the move would only shame companies. So the bill got watered down. It requires the state to report workplace outbreaks not by employer or location, but by industry. Assemblymember Eloise Gomez-Reyes, who introduced the new law, says she wants the state to disclose every workplace outbreak online. For now, California's businesses must follow new regulations set by Cal OSHA to protect workers from getting coronavirus on the job. To learn about other new laws taking effect in 2021, visit calmatters.org. For Cal Matters, my name is Laurence Dussault.
A troop of gorillas at the San Diego Safari Park who contracted COVID-19 earlier this month are recovering from the virus. The 8-member group is eating, drinking, and interacting. Due to his advanced age, the silverback gorilla named Winston got extra care under anesthesia. He was found to have pneumonia and a heart condition. He was treated with antibodies, which is thought to have helped him overcome the virus. The troop was infected with the more contagious strain of the virus, B.1.429. Scientists believe their diagnosis could deepen our understanding of the virus. If nearly everyone wore a mask in public, the spread of COVID-19 would be dramatically reduced. That's according to a new study out of UCLA. And now, as Mandy Gaither reports, President Biden is asking everyone to use one and mandating it where he can.
Before becoming the 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden made his stance on masks clear.
For God's sake, wear a mask, if not for yourself, for your loved ones, for your country.
In his first executive order, President Biden enacted the 100 Days Masking Challenge. While the president can't tell states or cities what to do, a federal mandate will require anyone on federal lands or in federal offices to wear a mask. It also urges states to do the same. A recent study led by UCLA researchers and published in the January edition of the peer-reviewed journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that if everyone would wear a mask in public and continue health measures like social distancing and hand washing, the rate of the coronavirus spread would essentially be reduced to zero. The researchers say public mask wearing is the most effective at reducing the spread of the virus when compliance is high. In a statement, co-author Anne Ramoyne says this research makes clear that even as vaccines are developed and new variants are being discovered, the power to protect ourselves remains in our hands, adding, Wearing a mask is one of the simplest, most effective, and cheapest ways to do exactly that. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And here's another look at today's top stories. With coronavirus trends improving, California has lifted regional stay-at-home orders statewide. The state is returning to the tiered system. San Diego County is still in the most restrictive purple tier. However, it means hair salons can reopen and restaurants can serve meals outdoors. And the second of 3 winter storms expected this week blew through San Diego County on Monday with high winds, considerable rainfall, and snow, and even some hail. The inclement weather forced the Petco Park Vaccine Superstation to close for all of Monday and Tuesday morning. People who had Petco Park vaccination appointments on Monday are being rescheduled for Thursday. The first dogs are settling into their new home at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The Bidens' 2 German Shepherds, Champ and Major, joined the first family at the White House yesterday. It's a return to the tradition of presidential pets. A spokesperson for Jill Biden said Champ is enjoying his new dog bed by the fireplace, while Major loved running around on the south lawn. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.